Personal Injury Court.
Good day, everyone. This is the matter of Richardson versus Hickman. Mr. and Mrs. Richardson, it's my understanding that you all are suing Mr. Hickman for injury, severe shoulder injury that you sustained when you slipped on peanuts at his restaurant. You're asking this court to award you $125,000 for medical expenses, $200,000 for pain and suffering, and a total award of $325,000. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Hickman, you believe she slipped on peanuts that were there. She should have known they were there, and it's not your fault, right?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right, well, let's get into the legal sauce. Why did y'all choose this restaurant?
Well, Your Honor, I retired after 30 years in the school system.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So 30 years, thank you. So after 30 years being with children, I was finally glad to be over with the school system, so I decided to have a retirement party. I was going to invite some friends and family and co-workers to this place, and I chose this restaurant because it was a little on the casual side, and some of my friends are not very upscale. You know, they like a little casual atmosphere.
Now, folks have different kinds of retirement parties. In fact, the sheriffs that used to take care of me many years ago, when these older gentlemen and women would have a party, some of them would have the fun party, some of them would have the formal sit-down.
Right.
Which one was yours? Was it fun or formal?
Mine was a fun party because I had some diversified friends, so I figured, let's go to this restaurant. I heard the food was great, but when I walked in and looked at it, you know, there was a few peanut shells. I just thought they didn't sweep up that day.
So peanut shells on the floor, Mr. Hickman, is that what happens at your place?
Yeah, it's a staple of our place. It's part of the fun atmosphere that we have. It's you know, my restaurant, and my dad gave it to me. In 16 years, we've always had peanut shells on the ground. It's just a fun thing where the patrons eat the peanuts and then throw the shells.
So they eat the peanuts and then they throw them on the floor. Now,
Correct.
What happens with the shells?
The shells are just on the ground and we walk on them, but it's just part of the country theme.
So it's part of the shtick of your restaurant.
Correct.
And I imagine it's pretty popular. That's kind of novel.
People come just for that. And I also have 790 positive reviews you can see here.
Sheriff Matt, if you'll get those reviews for me. I want to take a peek at them.
Reviews, I'm proud to say.
Let's see what the folks...
All ages.
What the folks say here. Well, you got one here that says... only house where throwing stuff on the floor won't get you grounded. Then another one says, be a boss, crack, eat, toss. Sounds like a fun place.
That's what we do.
And then the final one says, real cowboys drop their nuts on the floor. I'm gonna stop reading these right now, okay? But you got a fun place. People come there to have fun.
Absolutely, it's a packed crowd every night of the week.
And part of the fun is throwing these nuts on the floor, drinking beer, just kind of real laid back.
Having a great time. It adds to the country atmosphere.
And that's what you all had anticipated the retirement party would be, right?
Well, I didn't anticipate it to be that much peanuts on the floor. When I went to tour the place, it was only a few shells on the floor.
So you didn't know that people throw shells on the floor?
I did not.
Look at this. This is a shot of the floor in the restaurant.
At my party, right. That wasn't like that the day I went on a tour.
Well, y'all must have had either a lot of elephants or a lot of people that like peanuts.
It was a lot of peanuts.
That's a lot of peanuts. So tell me how you got injured.
So
That's not true.
We're having fun, we're drinking, we're eating, and I didn't know that the restaurant was known for the nuts. I thought it was known for the food. So we're eating, having a good time, we're laughing and drinking. So one of his waitresses walks over to me and said, well, you're retired. Why don't you start a conga line? You know, I'm a party person.
I love them.
I like to dance, which, as you can see there, I'm a dancer. So I love dancing. I had no problem with dancing, so I got up. As soon as
now, those can get pretty rowdy, right?
As soon as I stepped on the floor.
Depending on how much beer you've had, you know?
Well, I didn't have any beer.
Okay.
So as soon as I stepped on the floor, bam. I mean, I fell and bust my behind. I started screaming, crying. I felt my leg was broken, my hip, I couldn't move. My husband's trying to comfort me, and I'm like, get off me. I mean, I'm just hysterical because I'm embarrassed, first of all.
So you saw this, Mr. Richardson?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I'm embarrassed, I'm in pain. The only thing I didn't hit was my head, which I'm glad.
So, Mr. Hickman, this conga line, your waitresses and waiters having a good time with the patrons, is that what you expect them to do?
Yeah, I mean, they come around, and if people are having a good time, they tell them to get up and get in the conga line. It's just part of our fun atmosphere.
So you've seen conga lines in your place before?
Absolutely, and we've never had an incident.
How'd you know that Miss Richardson was hurt?
Well, I was working the register and I heard this shrieking scream. I turned around and my waitress was running over to her. I saw that it was her on the ground and I called 911 as soon as I could to get her help.
Did you know how she got down there to the floor?
No, I just heard a scream and we just wanted to help
You
her.
should have came over to me. You're the owner.
I was on the phone with 911. So I had to talk to them for a while, so I couldn't run over
You had a
and
cordless
be
phone.
your
You could've
aide
came over
because
to
I'm
me.
on the phone
Yes, you
with
could've.
your help.
Everybody
What did
has
you-
a cell phone.
I have
you
a
could've
heart.
came-
Miss Richardson.
You could have came to me.
Address your comments to me. Let me get to this thing. I know
Sorry,
this is
Your Honor.
important to you.
I'm just
You all
insulted.
rigged up there. I understand
Peanuts
that.
are a staple of our restaurant, okay? People go nuts for our nuts. That's our slogan.
You see shells all over the floor. The conga line starts, and that's
And I
when
hit the
disaster
floor.
begins.
And not only did I fall, when I fell, I'm down on the floor and I see not only are there shells on the floor, there's nuts down there too.
Okay.
Do you know what peanut oil can do to the floor? It makes things very
That's
greasy.
what you came for.
I didn't
That's
come
what
for
you
nuts. I came
Hickman,
for the food.
Mr. Hickman, how is it that peanuts get on the floor? Aren't people supposed to eat the meat and throw the shells on the floor?
That's correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
is
so
there-
the shells are on the ground, not the peanuts.
Peanuts on the ground.
the peanuts being on the floor creates at least a
Oil.
different picture, right?
Yes.
Yes, but usually it's shells, it's not peanuts. So
Well,
it's not that much oil.
Somebody comes
And
into your
after-
restaurant, they fall, they get hurt. How's that not your fault? It's your place.
Thank
Your
you.
nuts, your shells.
She knew the risks before coming there. She toured the place and said she wanted to book it there.
But it wasn't that
so
many
she
nuts
was
on the
satisfied.
floor.
I thought, great, another happy
No.
customer. She even remarked, Your Honor, when she came and toured the restaurant, she remarked how much she
This is
loved the place and
this
how
is
much her
before the
friends.
party.
Correct, and how much her friends were going to love it too.
Right, because it was a
okay.
do you
casual-
remember that?
Yes.
Did the floor look like that?
No.
She came during lunch. It wasn't
No.
as bad as that.
No.
Okay.
See,
There were
thank you.
clearly there were shells, discarded shells on the ground. Make
Had
sure
I
it's a safe
known it was
walkway.
going to be like that, I would have worn different shoes.
Now,
What? People go nuts for our nuts? What did you think that meant?
Well,
That
what
they
did
just like
Miss-
nuts.
Miss Richardson?
They like crazy people. I knew they
Who
were.
wears open-toed shoes? Why not
Mr. Hickman,
flats?
Mr.
It
Hickman,
didn't match my outfit. Come on.
order in this court.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Order in this court.
Sorry, Your Honor.
You guys got to talk to me.
I'm sorry, Your
If
Honor.
you want her to make the decision, keep talking to her. I got to figure this out.
Okay.
Okay?
Sorry, Your Honor.
So you slip
Right, I slipped
and
on
you
some
hit the
nuts.
floor. When did
Broke
you
my
know
hip.
that your shoulder was badly hurt?
Not only my shoulder, I have a broken hip. So my whole life has changed. I retired after 30 years. My husband and I have plans.
So you
to
hurt your
travel.
hip?
I have a broken
You hurt
hip.
your shoulder?
My shoulder, my knee.
Your
the only thing
knee?
that didn't hurt was my head.
And you got $125,000 in past medical expenses.
Yes, because my husband has to take me to physical therapy every other day. I'm retired. I was supposed to travel.
Yes, ma'am.
We have no quality of life anymore.
I see from your medicals that you tore your rotator cuff.
Yes.
Okay, how's that been?
It's not good. As you can see, as from my pictures, I was a traveler. I ride
Is that
elephants.
you on an
That's me
elephant?
on an elephant, yes. Which
Okay.
I can't do anymore. I ride elephants, I skate, I dance, I do all of these things, which my
You're very
quality of
active.
life is no longer. I'm depressed. I mean, I stay in the bed. He has to help me get dressed in the morning.
I see that you're asking this court for $200,000 for pain and suffering. Tell me about that.
Well, because I can no longer do the things I enjoy, I don't take care of my family anymore. I can't cook, I can't clean, I can barely dress.
How do you fix your hair?
My husband, it's a wig. He know how to put a wig on now. He's learned. Okay?
So, Mr. Richardson, you've been standing in the gap for your wife, right?
There ain't no question, Your Honor.
Tell me how this has affected you all's relationship.
My wife is depressed. She's not happy anymore. She was an outgoing person before. She used to like to travel. She used to like to go places and do things. She doesn't like to do that anymore. It's hard for her to get in the bed. It's hard for her to get out the bed.
Mr. Hickman, you
It's
see this is a big
unfortunate-
deal, right?
It's unfortunate that we're here under these circumstances and that you injured yourself, and I am sorry for that. But, you know...
Are you
this-
really sorry?
That's the first time he's ever said that, too.
Is it?
Yes.
How long have you owned this place?
16 years, Your Honor.
Did anyone ever tell you that they didn't go crazy for your nuts?
I did.
No, it's not my fault, okay? Her party was the main party, eating the peanuts and throwing them
No,
on
we
the
were
ground.
not.
So clearly that's
so
what
there
we
are
was
other
worried
there are
about.
other
Yes,
people.
we were not.
There are other
Yes,
people.
you were.
No, we weren't.
You actually had
Order
to
in
call
this
me-
court.
We were
Now,
not
I've said
young.
it one other time that you ought to address me. Mr.
Nobody
Richardson,
ever
did you
cleaned.
see anybody in your party throwing shells on the floor? You had to,
Yes, Your Honor.
right?
I did.
Everybody was throwing shells on the floor.
All of your entire party, their entire party, were joining in the atmosphere fun with the peanuts.
'Cause that's
eating them,
part of the
throwing them.
good time.
That's what we do.
But it was just,
Right?
if it was just the shells, Your Honor, then it would be a different story. But there were peanuts. When I hit the ground, there were peanuts peanuts on the ground also.
I brought an exhibit to show you today.
All right. Go on over and
And
show
Your Honor,
me.
before he does that, they should have receptacles for the nuts to go into.
But then it wouldn't be the same place. It would be a YMCA.
Your Honor, I'm stepping on these peanuts, and you can see how slippery it is. And it's not necessarily so much the peanut
Now
shell.
step on those nuts again. I want to see that. And you did that well. And you did submit a video to
I
the
submitted
court.
a video for you to let you know that about 5 minutes time how much oil is left over from these peanut shells and peanuts on the floor.
Okay, let's take a peek at it.
So if I take this shoe and I crush these shells, I'm going to give it about 5 minutes, and you'll see that this paper will be soaking wet with oil just from the residue and the peanuts. It's been 5 minutes, Your Honor. As you can see, this floor
Look at
is
it.
oily from the residue and the peanuts. They're responsible for this. This is what caused my wife to fall. This is what caused her to hurt herself.
So, Mr. Hickman, you see all that oil on that butcher paper?
I do.
That could make somebody slip, though, huh?
It could,
Yes.
but with the material on the floor, it doesn't make it that slippery.
There have been conga lines before at your place,
Every night, yes.
and people just go all around, snaking around the restaurant.
And she was actually being loud and disorderly, and we had to calm her down.
She was being loud and disorderly.
She was dancing on the peanut shells, and,
Put a little
and we had
rhythm
to
in it
keep
if
the
you want to-
walkway
put
clear,
a little
so we
rhythm.
had a server come over and tell her, and she goes, I'm the one paying for the party.
I was.
So, Miss Richardson,
Well, I was paying for the party, and now he's going to pay for what has happened to me. This injury, I mean,
do you have to wear that brace
Yes.
all the time?
Yes, I do.
What happens when you go to sleep at night?
I sleep like this. So can you imagine? I kick him out the bed because we have a king-size bed. He has to sleep in the guest room. He can't enjoy me anymore. I mean, my life is over with him. But thank God he's a good man. He takes care of me.
He seems like a good man.
He is. He is.
Now, Mr. Richardson, you heard Mr. Hickman talk about how she was up dancing, having a good time. She was dancing, having a good time, right?
She was supposed to be dancing and having a good
After
time.
30 years?
It's not right. It wasn't, like I said, again, it was the oil
She was
from all
wearing
those
high
peanuts
heels,
on the floor
Your Honor.
that caused
She was
her to
wearing
slip.
open-toed high heels.
If water was
And
spilled
she
on
wore
the floor...
high heels and open-toed shoes.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
To a country-themed bar. Maybe something a little more appropriate.
Because it
Flats or,
matched
say,
my
boots.
outfit. It matched my outfit. I'm sorry.
Somebody's gonna go to jail today.
Nope.
Address your comments to me. Y'all are making me nuts. Mr. Hickman, you mentioned that she was wearing high-heeled shoes. Don't many people come in? I mean, women wear high-heeled shoes, right?
Yes.
And they probably have done it, and everything's fine. So when she wears these, apparently these aren't appropriate for her. But, you know, she wasn't even worried about the nuts because she was dancing on top of the nuts.
Now, Miss Richardson, your husband crushed those shells on the video with a high-heeled shoe. Is that the kind of shoe you had on?
It's almost the same shoe, except those were my black ones, which I
Okay.
can no longer wear anymore. All of my heels I cannot wear
Because
anymore.
of your hip injury?
Yes. I have to wear little flat shoes now.
I think I've heard enough. I think I'm ready to render my decision. Folks, in every personal injury case, the plaintiff, that is you all, the Richardsons, you have to prove that the defendant committed a wrong, that Mr. Hickman committed a wrong, that his wrong caused your injuries. You have proven today that there were peanuts on the floor, that there was oil on that floor, that there were shells on that floor, and that a waitress allowed you to, or encouraged you to come and do a conga line. You did the conga line, you slipped and fell, and had a terrible retirement experience.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hickman, you run a restaurant that people throw peanuts and shells on the floor. She should have known this. That's why she booked the place, because of that shtick. This had never happened to you before. And frankly, you've been making the point that it's obvious. People are here for our nuts.
People go nuts for our nuts, Your Honor.
Under the law, I've got to consider everybody's responsibility. But here's the problem. Your waitress started a conga line, and that's what tips the scales. Here, I find that you are partially responsible for your injuries, but I'm going to find in your favor only because your waitress was involved. Mrs. Richardson, I find that you are 49% responsible for your injuries. You are suing for $325,000. 51% of that is $165,750. I'm making that award in that amount to you, taking into account your partial responsibilities for your injuries. I find in your favor in the amount of $165,750. That is my final verdict, and this matter is adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Our attorneys across America just viewed this case for the first time. Let's hear what Andrew Finkelstein has to say.
Two things stand out in this verdict. First, the defendant's employee started this incident when she encouraged the conga line. The employer is responsible for the negligent acts of the employee when those actions are done in the course of their employment. Second, the waitress should have been cleaning the floor instead of starting a party. The restaurant knew that the shells and crushed peanuts could make the floor dangerous, but failed to remove the hazard.
Your Honor, this is nuts. I didn't do anything wrong. This is gonna close.
Sir, you don't get to talk to me like that in my courtroom. Matt, get him out of here. Get him out of here, Matt.
Bye-bye.
This is Personal Injury Court.
Good day, everyone. This is the matter of Nugent versus Rodriguez. Miss Nugent, it's my understanding from the documents that you submitted to this court that you are suing Mr. Rodriguez for an eye injury that you received at his park involving his mascot. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're asking this court to award you $36,000 in past medical bills, $14,000 for pain and suffering, for a total award of $50,000. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Rodriguez, you believe this is not your fault. This is a freak accident, and you shouldn't be held responsible for this.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, sir. Let's get into the legal sauce. Now, you all went to the baseball game. Are y'all a baseball family?
Yes, we are.
Tell me about that.
Well, Your Honor, we've been going to baseball games for as long as I can remember. Every year we go as a family. I go with my dad. We always sit in the same seats every time we go to the game behind home plate.
So really a family ritual kind
Yes,
of thing.
every year.
And Mr. Rodriguez, that's the kind of thing you want at your park, is people making it just part of their family, right?
In fact, I relate with them. You know, me personally, I grew up in the baseball family. My grandfather owned this team 50 years ago. He's the one that started this franchise. My
and this
father,
is the Bantam Rooster.
the Bantam Roosters, yes, sir. One of the things that I personally enjoy is the fact that families like the Nugents can come and enjoy, you know, a safe environment where good entertainment is going to happen, especially with our mascot.
And your mascot's name is what?
Home Run Roo.
Home Run Roo. That's the Bantam Roosters
That's the
mascot.
Bantam Roosters mascot, yes, sir.
So y'all sit in the same spot.
Every time.
Okay, real baseball lovers. That's really what you want,
Right.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Sure is, you know, and the best part about the fact that they attend our games in the seats that they do is actually we call Home Run Rooster's Nest.
Okay.
That's where he's stationed, and he passes out peanuts in that area.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, Miss Nugent, you and your dad are sitting at the park. So on this day, tell me how this happened.
Music is playing. We're excited. My favorite player is at home plate. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere.
Definitely not all of a sudden.
Yes, Your Honor, it was all of a sudden. Out of nowhere, it feels like a bag of rocks hit my eye. Like it was so painful. I had never experienced pain like that, to where I thought at first it was a baseball until I realized that it was peanuts.
You're certainly not expecting to get hit with anything when you're behind home plate.
Exactly. There's a net and everything.
Mr. Rodriguez, what's up with folks getting hit behind the backstop?
Their seats are located around 10 rows up.
Okay.
We have signs all around the stadium, and on our tickets, the ticket holder assumes all risks at our games of flying objects. I actually have the ticket here if you would like to see it, where it actually states all of the information that we try to provide for our
All right.
fans.
Sheriff Matt, if you'll get the ticket. Let me take a peek at it. All right. This is the Bantam Roosters ticket. It says the carrier of this ticket assumes all risks and dangers accompanying this baseball game, including danger of being injured by thrown or batted baseballs. That's what all your tickets say.
Baseballs, not peanuts.
Now, Mr. Rodriguez, I mean, it does say baseballs, batted balls, doesn't say anything about peanuts now.
Well, that's exactly why we indicated assumes all risks and dangers accompanying this baseball game.
Well, from a legal perspective, all risks are all risks that are reasonably anticipated. When you go to a baseball game, you anticipate getting hit by a baseball, maybe. Peanuts? not so much. So I'm not sure that all risk includes peanuts legally.
We offer free peanuts. And in our stadium, especially in the area in which they were sitting, Home Run Roo actually gives peanuts to all the people in that area that request, peanuts.
Did you all get the peanuts for free?
I didn't request.
Not
peanuts.
on this day, but before,
Sure,
when you went to see
absolutely.
the Bantam Roosters, you ate the peanuts,
Sure,
right?
of course.
Sure. So Home Run Roo throws the peanuts out. Those peanuts are free.
Now, the peanuts are free. Now, I'll let you know that when I spoke
Well, it's
to
been a
Mr.
tradition.
Harper,
It's been a tradition, so.
it's been a tradition for 50 years that we throw peanuts for free for our fans.
So free peanuts.
Yes,
So
sir. That day, the father, Mr. Nugent, was actually requesting peanuts. They were taunting
not
and they were
We were
yelling
not
at
taunting, Your
Home
Honor.
Run
Now,
Roo.
taunting
not
how?
We expect taunting at our games. We know that it's going to happen, but it's usually happening to the opposing team, not the mascot.
So how do you taunt a mascot?
All right. Well, Mr. Harper, who I actually brought with me today, he states that the plaintiffs were yelling at him, saying that he couldn't throw that far, that he wasn't going to make the peanuts to them. And after he engaged with them visually, he decided, you know what, I'm going to give these peanuts to this family right here. And
Not
it just
true,
so
Your
happened, the father could not catch the peanuts.
Mr. Nugent, everybody's having fun. Were you interacting with Home Run Roo and saying, look, we need some peanuts, throw them to me? Well, what were you saying? Treat me like I'm Home Run Roo.
Hey, you don't like a spring chicken to me? Come on, throw it out here. Throw it over here.
Okay, and you're going back and forth with him, and then he eventually throws the peanuts to you.
Yeah.
But I didn't request peanuts, Your Honor. They came out of nowhere and hit me in the face.
Miss Nugent, did you know that your dad was going back and forth with Home Run Roo?
I heard him going back and forth, so I saw Home Run Roo. However, Your Honor, I'm at a baseball game.
But that
I'm
has
not
nothing
there
to do
for
with it.
peanuts. I'm there to watch the games.
Was he taunting him? Because if he's taunting a mascot, I can't imagine your boyfriend going to the game with y'all.
No, Your Honor, he was not taunting. We're at a baseball game. It's loud. You have to say over here, but not taunting.
Yeah, but I can't imagine y'all were out there saying, Home Run Roo, may I request a bag of peanuts, please?
No.
Well, not so
Right?
formal, but
No.
you can ask without taunting. My father wasn't taunting him.
Well, it seems to me if I'm Home Run Roo, and you say, look, you throw like a little kid. You can't throw them over here. Give me those nuts. Give me those nuts. I'm going to throw them hard.
We weren't saying things like that.
Well, let me hear from Home Run Roo himself. That's James Harper.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Harper, would you stand up, please? Sir. How long have you been Home Run Roo?
I've been Home Run Roo for the last 5 years. I've actually played for this baseball organization, and when I retired, I became the mascot.
Well, you know what,
So-
Your Honor? He may be a rooster, but he is no spring chicken. And apparently, you see that mask right
Yes,
there?
ma'am.
He probably couldn't even see out of it, which made his
That would
aim off.
make two of
Well,
us.
let me find that out. Let me find that out.
Well, it was a very
Mr.
bad
Harper.
day that day. It was sweaty. Yeah, I think
Right, he could have
I think
got
he
sweat in
slipped
his
it,
face.
slipped his
Let me hear
balls.
from Home Run Roo. Mr. Harper.
Yes, sir.
When you have this headpiece on and the body piece, you become Home Run Roo, right?
Absolutely.
Now, as Home Run Roo, you got to look out of this thing and see people, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember this incident, seeing these folks in the stand when you had that headpiece on?
I do.
And tell me what happened.
Well, it was a normal day, baseball game. I was passing out peanuts to fans.
Passing them out?
Tossing them, slightly tossing them.
Okay.
So Mr. Nugent and Mrs. Nugent were heckling me. Once they started taunting me, the crowd started getting involved. I started cheering them on, telling me,
That's
yo, you
not
can't
true.
make it. You throw
That's-
like a girl. You can't reach it all the way up here. So then Mr. Nugent over here puts his hands in the air like he's ready to receive the peanuts. I toss them underhand to him, hit him directly in the hands. The bag of peanuts slipped through his hands and then ended up hitting his daughter in the eye.
Your Honor, his aim
Mr.
had
Nugent,
all
did you
wrong.
try to catch the peanuts?
I was trying to protect my daughter, and I didn't want to hit her in the eye. Just playing catch.
But he threw them so hard, and his
But-
aim was off.
Your Honor.
Did he throw them hard, Mr. Nugent?
He threw him hard.
Did you throw those peanuts hard?
Your Honor, it was an underhand toss that hit him directly in his hands. But Butterfingers over here let him slip through his hands, and then they ended up hitting his daughter in the
you're
face.
kidding.
Well, how
Hey.
big of a bag of peanuts are we talking about?
Well, Your Honor, I actually brought a bag of peanuts and a radar gun, so we could actually show you if you like a demonstration.
I would like to see that.
Okay, perfect.
Right.
Put the gloves on, and I want you to put the headpiece on too. And because I don't want you to injure Sheriff Matt, I'd like you to throw them to your boss.
Watch out, Dad. Step
No,
back.
step aside.
Give me your best, because they're 10 rows up.
Exactly.
I need my peanuts.
27, Judge.
That's moving, guys.
Now
that's
mine.
move.
Right.
That's not a toss. That's a fastball.
Exactly.
All right, you may take the headpiece off and the gloves, and you may return back to the podium.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Mr. Rodriguez, I mean, this is not a small item. These peanuts are hard.
Exactly.
And they're traveling 10, 15 feet at 20-something miles an hour.
Right. Thank you.
So, Ms. Nugent, you have a detached retina
Yes, Your
and a
Honor.
damaged eye.
Yes.
What are you going through?
My vision is not the same as it used to be. I can't even do simple things like drive myself around anymore. I have to get somebody else to drive me around. I was a flight attendant, and I can't go to work pushing a cart down an aisle looking like a pirate. Like, I can't go to work like that.
Are you serious?
Really? That is so disrespectful.
Did you
Very
just laugh about this?
Very disrespectful.
Mr. Harper, you're the one that threw the peanuts. You damaged a woman's eye, and you have the nerve to come in my courtroom and laugh about it? Sir, please sit down. Ms. Nugent, I'm looking at your medical bills here. You have a lot of them. It's
A lot.
$36,000.
Yes.
You've asked this court to award you $14,000 for pain and suffering. What's your biggest worry about this eye?
I will never, ever be able to have my full vision again, and that I could possibly go completely blind in my eye. And so my dad has been great and is helping as much as he can, but he can only do so much.
If your father can catch a bag of peanuts, I wouldn't be here losing my job.
Mr. Harper, get out of my courtroom!
Are
Get him
you
out of here!
serious? Are you?
Calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down.
To understand your eye injury, we must hear from an ophthalmologist, and this court has consulted Dr. Lauren Yancey. Sheriff Matt, will you bring Dr. Yancey into the courtroom?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good day, Doctor. Dr. Yancey, what is a detached retina?
Well, the retina is a thin layer of tissue that lines the back of the eye, and it really acts like the film in the camera. It's what actually captures the picture and allows that picture to be transmitted to your brain. When the retina is torn, it can start as a small tear that can gradually progress and cause complete peeling of the retina off the back of the wall of the eye, much like wallpaper can come down if just the corner's torn up. As the retina begins to detach, it might seem like just some flashing lights and some floaters in the beginning. Now, if the retina becomes completely detached, then there's a complete loss of vision.
Well, what's the recovery time for this kind of thing?
It can vary depending on the extent of how much retina has actually torn away from the back of the eye. If it's a small tear, it can be something that only requires several weeks of recovery after surgery. However, if the entire retina detaches, that's a pretty extensive repair and can take months, sometimes years, to reach full visual potential, and that may never be the same.
Is it possible that slowly throwing a bag of peanuts like this could hit someone and detach their retina?
Enough blunt trauma to an eye can cause a detachment. I've had even a patient where their spouse rolled over in bed and just their hand flapping over at night caused a retinal detachment. However, I think the right hit from any blunt trauma can cause a detachment.
All right, thank you, doctor. You are released. Mr. Nugent, you've been quiet most of this day.
Yes, sir.
Looking back on this, do you feel a little bit responsible for your daughter's injuries?
I do, sir. I feel bad for not catching the peanuts. To see her in such pain, it's heartbreaking.
So you assume responsibility.
I shall not assume responsibility because this is your fault. This guy is working for you. He blew it. He blew it, sir.
The toss or the catch? What was
Both.
blown?
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Ms. Nugent, Mr. Nugent, Mr. Rodriguez, I've heard everything I need to hear, and I'm ready to make my decision. Folks, the plaintiff has to prove basically three things. The plaintiff, you, Ms. Nugent, have to prove that Mr. Rodriguez was wrong and that his wrong caused your terrible eye injury. Here today, you've put up evidence that it was Home Run Rue that threw the peanuts to your dad. They went through his hands and hit you in the eye and changed your life forever. So this is not your fault. Here, Mr. Rodriguez, there are plenty of folks that catch peanuts, plenty of folks that interact with Home Run Rue. This should have been just another family day. This is what happens at baseball parks. Things fly. You believe Home Run Rue throwing the peanuts is just what folks do, and it's Mr. Nugent's fault that his daughter's eye got injured, but not yours. The law looks at the timing of incidents. That is, things where they happen, what happens before and after a given time means something. These events are as follows. Home Run Rue sees your dad says, throw some peanuts. He throws the peanuts. The speed doesn't matter. Your dad tries to catch the peanuts and they hit you in the eye. The law looks at what's the last responsible cause for your injuries. In proving wrong caused harm, you clearly are harmed. The peanuts caused your injury, but the last event in this chain is your dad trying to catch them. Because he did not catch the peanuts, as much as it pains me to find against you, I must, because your dad is responsible for your injuries. And in that regard, I find for the defendant. That is my final verdict, and this matter is adjourned. Our attorneys across America just viewed this case for the first time. Let's hear what Richard Harris has to say.
The fact that the plaintiff waited to go for medical treatment is not unusual. People often hope they will get better and don't want to take the time to go to the doctor. The plaintiff's injuries are severe, potentially permanent. From the testimony, the plaintiff knew that the mascot would throw peanuts in her direction when they called for them. Her failure to pay attention and Dad's inability to catch them were the causes of her injury.